All right, let's jump right into monopolistic competition. Now, this is the economic engine that explains why your favorite new coffee shop suddenly has 3 copycats down the street. It's a concept that every single one of you, as a future business leader, absolutely needs to master. Why? Because this isn't just some dusty old theory. It's a real-world life cycle that plays out every single day.
And we're going to unpack all of this by tackling one central question. Just think about it for a second. That amazing, one-of-a-kind restaurant or shop that popped up, it had lines around the block, everyone was talking about it, and then maybe a year later, it just felt like one of a dozen similar places. How does that happen? Why? Well, the answer is all about the economic life cycle we're about to break down. You know, every story has a beginning. And for a viral business, that beginning is what I like to call a golden hour of profitability. This is where the monopolistic part of the name really comes to life. For a short, brilliant period, that business gets to act like its own little mini monopoly.
Now, to really get this phase, we have to understand a crucial concept: economic profit. And look, this is not the same as accounting profit. Accounting profit is just making more money than you're spending. Economic profit, that's a much higher bar. It means you're making more money than you would in your next best alternative. It factors in your opportunity costs, which makes it the absolute truest measure of a business's success.
So let's make this real. Let's talk about our case study. A brand new cafe opening up in Tanjung Lesung. What gives it this short-run monopoly power? Well, it's not a monopoly on coffee beans, right? It's a monopoly on a specific vibe. The unique, Instagram-worthy design, the perfect location, the whole experience. This is called product differentiation, and it is absolutely key. It means they're facing a high downward-sloping demand curve. In plain English, they have pricing power, because nobody else offers exactly what they're offering.
And this entire advantage, this whole golden hour, can be boiled down to one simple, incredibly powerful formula. Price is greater than average total cost. Let that sink in for a second. This is the mathematical signature of a business that is absolutely crushing it.
And the result of that little inequality is exactly what every entrepreneur lies awake at night dreaming of: massive, supernormal economic profit. Every single cup of coffee they sell brings in money that blows past what it actually costs to make on average. This is the peak. This is that "we've made it" moment.
But, and you knew there was a but coming, right? That incredible success acts like a giant beacon. That massive profit sends a signal out to the entire market, and that is when the competition part of monopolistic competition wakes up.
So here's the crucial factor. This is what makes this market so different from a true monopoly. Low barriers to entry. You don't need a government patent to sell coffee. You don't need billions in capital to open a cool little cafe. The door, for all intents and purposes, is wide open for anyone else to just walk right in.
And this is exactly how it happens, step by step. Other entrepreneurs see those profits and they're drawn in like moths to a flame. They don't have to reinvent the wheel, they just copy the successful formula and add their own little twist, a slightly different aesthetic, maybe a signature pastry, maybe just a slightly lower price. And with every new cafe that opens, a little slice of the original's customer base gets peeled away.
So, just to reset, remember where we started. Our cafe began with this beautiful, high-demand curve all to itself. It wasn't just a place to go, it was the place to go.
But after the copycats arrive, this is the new reality. That demand curve gets pushed to the left, which means fewer customers at any given price. And, critically, it becomes more elastic. It gets flatter. That means your remaining customers are now way more sensitive to your prices. And why wouldn't they be? They have other options now. Your pricing power is fading, fast.
This process just keeps on going. More and more competitors jump in, and the market gets more and more crowded until, finally, it reaches its inevitable final state. This is what we call the long-run equilibrium. The gold rush is officially over.
So here are the mechanics behind it. New businesses will keep entering the market as long as there is even a tiny sliver of that supernormal profit left to grab. And every time one does, it pushes our original cafe's demand curve a little more to the left and a little more until it just barely kisses its average total cost curve at one single point.
And at that precise point of tangency, the formula that started this whole thing flips. That greater than sign vanishes, and we are left with this. Price now equals average total cost. The golden hour has come to an end.
And here's the really powerful, almost stunning conclusion to this whole story. Despite all the initial creativity, the unique vibe, the viral success, In the long run, the profit outcome in monopolistic competition is exactly the same as in a perfectly competitive market: zero economic profit. Now, that doesn't mean the business fails. It means it's sustainable, it's covering all its costs, but that phase of massive wealth creation, it's gone.
Okay, so as a manager, as an entrepreneur, what's the lesson here? Is it that innovation is pointless? No, absolutely not. This is where the economic theory stops and your strategy has to begin. This is the real challenge.
This quote says it all. You have to start seeing your short-run profit not as a fortress you can defend, but as a signal. A big, bright signal that you are sending out to the rest of the market. And that signal will always attract competition. Your job isn't to stop the signal. Your job is to build a strategy that expects it.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important thought for you to take away. This whole cycle is basically a law of nature in business. Imitation isn't just likely, it is guaranteed. So the most important strategic question you can ask isn't, how do I protect this one idea forever? The real question is, how do I build an engine for creating the next great idea? Because in monopolistic competition, the only true, sustainable, long-term advantage is the ability to keep innovating again and again and again.